Right, here it comes. This is probably the one very big hand, but just open raising to 77,000 with pocket aces with someone who is capable of doing anything feels great. Alright, let's raise the stakes. We got a crazy game going, like a couple of, I don't know, days, weeks ago. But we see some end bosses of poker on this table here, and we see big amounts of money on that table. Mr. Konstantin playing under Austrian flag. Think I know who it is, but I'm not sure, so I don't want to drop any names. Definitely a high stakes player. Mr. Marius Gierse, one of the German crew, both MTT and cash bosses. We got Barak Wisbrod, who I don't know personally, but we have mutual friends. Very good player, ready to play for that amount of money. We obviously got Viktor Malinovsky, Limitless, one of the end bosses himself, and another friend of mine here, Mikita Batsiakowski. You don't want to have him on your table, crushing all the MTTs and all the cash games and just everything he plays. And we got Biedermeier from Austria, who I'm not 100% sure of who he is, so I don't want to drop too much, but he was there to gamble, he was ready to play. Let's see what they are up to. First, as a little introduction, people are straddling. We will see even more than that 500, 1k, 2k, 4k, 8k. How I approach that is really to get an idea of our actual stack depth. I sum up all the straddles, that would be 8, 12, 14, 15, 15.5k plus the ante, 16.7k. I pretty much divide that by 3 to get to the small blind that I'm used to. So that would be like something like 5.5k, 11k blinds. So when you sit there with $1 million in that game, it should feel a little like 100 big blinds. Limitless playing more with like 50 big blinds kind of. This is how I approach that spot a little to get to the overall risk reward with the blinds in the middle and the stacks behind. And now let's just jump into the action. Let's see which moves we are seeing. We see the next straddle to 16k. So forgot what I said before. We are playing a little shorter, but for a little more money. And so we see first decision for Mr. Konstantin here is, let's just do the math quickly again, about 25k in the middle, let's round a little, so that should be like 16k blinds. So Mr. Konstantin actually plays less than 20 blinds from 6-handed early position. If he was in the cutoff or on the button, jamming this hand would definitely be an option, just given the risk reward. I think here he's slightly too deep, and we will see a min open. Oh, we actually see the about 20 big blind jam. Maybe with that, with the other people being a little deeper, with the crazy guy behind, they cannot call as light as they can if everyone has like 20 bigs, so that makes that a little better jam. This is quite a nice flop, right? So now, first thing we can learn from that, be flexible, really think about what is actually happening here, risk reward. This is way more what it is about poker than just learning charts in the end, right? This is when we have such a special table, just everything is different. All right, next hand, straddle up to 8k. Again, the action starts on the left of this last straddle. So Mr. Konstantin is first to act, even though he is in the, like in the first straddle somehow. All right. So again, that should somewhat play like 50 BB. So Marius has a clear open here. Victor has an ambitious flat that you like doing, especially with the recreational in the middle, so kind of standard so far from all sides. And now this is now for us, from like people that try to play the best poker possible, now the first challenge. We face a half pot donk from someone who is apparently on an 80 VPIP or 79 and is ready to gamble. What to do with in both shoes, like Marius, just call, wait for the flush to maybe get there, raise to isolate yourself against Biedermeier, but what if he jams, hate your life. And then Victor, how to evaluate how strong is that 8. Let's see, Marius, what he decides. Just the call, play it safe. And now this is the first very interesting spot. Would be very interesting to have a read on the half pot donking range. Have we seen that before? Is that saying, hey, I have something on the board like a 4 or a 3 or a draw or something, or is that a sign of strength? So I guess what we can be sure of, that Marius fast plays when he has something. So we can discount all kinds of very, very strong hands, right? It's like we are playing like 50 big blinds deep against the recreational. He raises 10s and jacks to get them in. So actually just having a random 8 is quite a good hand given the action. And if you put in any kind of read that donk doesn't mean anything like strength, then yeah, this is the perfect play. Right? So it's not like, yeah, it seems dangerous, but if you really go through the ranges, I think 8-6 is a beautiful hand. Get the fold, alright. Maybe that read was on from Victor, that this is more like not really strength. And yeah, Marius calling there already. Like, what does Marius do with pot size left on a brick? I mean, now he gets there. Makes it somewhat easy. Checking again, he just has pot size left, can easily get it in on the river. Now I guess Victor has kind of a easy check back on that turn. And now the river is very, very interesting. Yeah, how to play that flush. What else is in your range? How do you play 7s, 6s, 5s? How do you play 8x yourself? What else do you have after just calling that donk and then calling that raise, right? So tough to even know your own range. Here Marius has a flush and he actually decides to check. So what does that mean? It even means that he thinks he needs to protect more the rest of his range. Like that he says, I have like 7s all the time here and I want to realize my equity. Like my first instinct told me, let's freaking always bet that flush here. Yeah, but I might be off actually if I think about the real range construction we are having there. Right? It's like we start on the flop, everything is crazy just because of the recreational player. And from then on, well, it's two very good players facing each other and trying to get the best out of it. Open raise of the pocket 4s. Very interesting again to see that Mikita decides to just call here. Right? It's more EV in getting involved with the recreational than 3-betting a hand like ace-queen, and he can assume that Victor is obviously way looser than a standard cutoff opening range, just trying to get to play with Biedermeier. So yeah, this is just shows us to really think like, where is this EV coming from? What to look out for? And here I guess this won't be an interesting hand, since all of them just have hands that are interested in checking down and can have some hope for winning. And yeah, just a casual check down $56,000 pot. Right, Biedermeier decides to go for the double straddle, first 8 and then let's up it to 16. And so now a different approach from Mikita. He decides to 3-bet. Yeah, in position against Marius, a little similar to the ace-queen hand before, where he decided to not 3-bet. Obviously now it's button versus under the gun. It's a little different, but maybe it is a reason that it's not button versus under the gun. I just call it like that because it's just one player left to act. Actually, that's wrong. So it's just the difference that Mikita is out of position against the recreational. So actually he's less interested in keeping him in compared to the spot before. So now it's like or maybe just Mikita has aces, who knows. But yeah, he gets the fancy cold call, and now let's see. It's now sitting there pre-flop in a just 3-bet pot. Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe let me know in the comments again, which hand do you check call here in Mikita's shoes? You 3-bet versus the open raiser, get cold called by the recreational, and then face a 4x pot jam for $1 million in that pot after checking. I would love to see those hands. I'm missing some straddles, just straddling up to 4K here. Now Biedermeier going for the limp, so actually this time we are playing as deep as it looks like, more than 100 bigs or some even more than 200 bigs. Ace King obviously isolating, we could argue for bigger sizes as well. And yeah, now probably just going to reach a pot size that your hand exactly wants to reach. Facing a pot size bet already hurts, but I guess with Ace King we can't go anywhere. The outs are just too clean. Barak has a turn fold or just trying to check down, maybe see the once in a lifetime bluff there with pot bet, sometimes winning, who knows. Alright, next note done. Biedermeier pot stabbing there with his random mid pair after limp calling 7-6 off. Right, here it comes. This is probably the one very big hand. Yeah, Barak having freaking aces here in that spot. How must that feel? I mean, I never played that big, but just open raising to 77,000 with pocket aces with someone who is capable of doing anything feels great. Let's just first think about how deep are we actually. Biedermeier this time straddled up to 32,000. So that means that there's about, what was it, like 40k in the middle. So it's like 1326 are the blinds. So actually they are playing with his 600k stack. It's more like 25 bigs, maybe 30 big blinds. This is the actual stack depth. And yeah, 30 big blinds with aces against the recreational that likes to play queen 4 offsuit there on the button. Let's see. So far we have seen some jams, so this is why I like Barak's check a lot here. Just it's either villain is betting, that's obviously good for us. We should almost always be good here. And if not, well, then villain has another chance to improve to something. Just imagine like villain having Jack 10, Jack 9, King Jack, King 10, whatever, and hitting a top pair on the turn with that pot size already, with that stack depth. Easy to get it in over 2 streets. Just we need to dodge a 4 and a 6 somehow. That would be the only cards that we really hate to see. I guess now hitting the upside of what can happen. And we get that 3 times, 3.5 times pot jam, snapping it off with aces, and now sitting there in front of your computer and just praying, What would you do in Mr. Constantine's shoes here? So someone straddles to 32,000. That means you're playing somewhat like 20, 25 big blinds deep with your stack there. Maybe 30, and you open raise something and face that rejam. Or actually, that's untrue, right? Because Biedermeier only has those 475k. So it's more like 16 big blind rejam of someone who just lost $500,000 with his queen 4 offsuit. What is the weakest hand you're calling? Which ace X? Which pocket pair? Which king X? Let me know your calling range here in Mr. Constantine's shoes. I think this is something really, really interesting to think through, where all the tools in the world won't help us to come up with a correct calling range. Is he just going crazy, smashing 4-6 offsuit in there? Or does he like to call rather and sits more on like ace queen, ace king here all the time? This is the big decisions you sometimes need to make there. I only know it from like the high stakes tournaments. I never played that high cash, but this is just watching it. I would have no idea. Next straddle to 32,000. Barak again having something very, very, very strong. Victor going for the rejam, which with that stack depth just makes sense, and it's just the big straddle changing everything. Victor loving life. Would be a little nicer without the ace on the turn to see that 9 river really changing things. But yeah, insane game. But again, even though it's more like railing crazy hands, we can still learn something from that, right? It's really how do we play different types of recreationals. Ready to gamble, maybe for other amounts of money, but there are lots of questions to ask ourselves that you feel it, and I'm trying to be as honest as possible with you, where I have no clue, right? It's just like, this is the beautiful thing with poker. We sometimes just don't know, and yeah, and this is how it should be. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that one as well. I hope you liked the format, and good luck on at the tables. Maybe some lower stakes, but yeah. Have fun.